Welcome to Inside Sim Racing, episode 40. I'm your host, Jessica Lopez. Thanks for tuning in out there. On last week's episode, number 39, we had a shootout between Gran Turismo 5 Prologue and Forza 2, which seemed to cause quite a bit of controversy.
Yeah, it did.
Today we're going to discuss that shootout, and we'll probably cause some more controversy to follow.
Yeah, we will.
Darren's going to be hosting a new segment of the show, which will show you racing rigs for under $1,000. Sean's going to be joining him on today's segment, and they're going to show you a do-it-yourself racing rig, which Darren initially started out with and built himself. They're also going to show you the new Z-Frame by TSW. For you Race Pro owners, we have a little contest going on. We're going to be giving out some downloadable content, that is codes, to unlock the Dodge Charger and the Challenger. Stay tuned to the end of the show and we'll tell you how to join the contest. Team Redline is back on the show today, and they're going to be giving us some tips on the Virginia International Raceway, and that's with the iRacing Radical, driven by Bastien Barch. It's good to see he's still out there running some laps. I want to just give him a quick little shout out. And we also got some tech tips by Sean, as well as our top stories. Before we move forward to all of this, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of our subscribers. We've surpassed the 3,000 subscriber mark. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do if you watch the show and enjoy it. If you'd like to make your sim racing experience a little better, visit our store at InsideSimRacing.tv. We have a bunch of cool sim gear at some really good sim prices. And speaking of sim gear, we got this new wheel by Fanatic that Sean's using here.
Yeah, we do. We've been teasing this wheel a lot, and for good reason. It's the Fanatic GT3 RS. I actually have it hooked up with the Logitech pedals right now. It's so compatible. I'm even getting the rumble, which is one of the features, which you'll hear all about, and doing a little practice for the Twad race.
That's right.
This is Cole Little asking you to stop by the brand new SRT store. They have everything you could want as a sim racer right there in one place. They have wheels, pedals, shifters, and more. I'm talking about the latest sims, even Race Pro. Sim pods, video cards, they got it all. Just go to InsideSimRacing.tv, click on the store button or on the banner. And the best thing of all is every purchase helps keep SRT on the air. So don't be a Dario Gangini. Go to the SRT store, get your gear, and be cool. Celebrity voice impersonated.
All right, guys, I'm back here with Darren, who's joining me for the top stories.
Hey, everybody.
And first up, we're going to talk about the shootout from last week's episode.
Oh, yeah, the controversial shootout. Yeah. We really upset some Gran Turismo 5 Prologue owners. And
well, we can't make everyone happy, Darren.
Yeah, there's going to be a loser in a shootout like this. So Sean and I put together a little rebuttal, and actually some clips that were left on the editing room floor where we went into a little more detail. So.
And what's with this whole thing about Gran Turismo Prologue being a demo and it shouldn't have been compared?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to talk about here, so roll it! Alright, well, here we are for our Gran Turismo 5 Prologue rebuttal versus Forza 2 rebuttal. And, you know, we got a lot of flack. We knew we would. For our shootout that we had.
In fact, thanks everybody for all the comments. I mean, that was part of the goal, I suppose.
We got more than 200 comments, and feel free to keep posting on that episode. We'd really appreciate it. But yeah, we got over 200 comments, and yeah, and I admit I'm the one that stirred the pot a little bit there. But you know, we wanted we wanted to tell you our side. There was definitely a lot of stuff that was left on the cutting room floor. Sean was the editor of that. He can definitely attest to that. But
we were running long. Yeah,
look at that episode. It's already over 45 minutes, and we didn't give you our definition of prologue, and you know, everybody's saying that this is a demo. So let's start by rolling our footage from episode 39.
Good idea.
And it'll explain my take and our take on Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. Sim racing console shootout. You know what? I got an email today from a guy. I'm going to mention this real quick, and I'm not going to drag this on, but complaining. He's a diehard from Finland. Can't remember the guy's name, Jarko or something like that, but complaining that we cover arcade racers, and we were kind of hesitant to start covering consoles, but Sean and I spent some good time with both of these. I mean, minimum 8 hours with each sim, both of us.
At least.
Minimum. As for Gran Turismo 5, I've gone through all the way through S license. Sean helped me, accomplish that. But we've got our S license, a ton of cars. Forza 2, we've played a ton.
Yeah.
So this thing, I'd rather play one of these more than some PC sims out there.
Yeah, if I had to rank my favorite sims, these would be pretty high up on the list, and I'm surprised that they're console titles and they do the job. They do the job well, and I know we're pissing people off today.
Oh, I'm sure we are.
They're big battle lines.
Our diehard PC sim racers are probably going to just fast forward through this and find that's cool. To each his own. But you know what? For $500, you can sim race on a console.
Yeah.
Can't do that on a PC.
And anyone can do it.
You know what? You might be able to get away with it on a PC if you're lucky, but it's gonna be a struggle.
Yeah,
you're gonna be behind the 8 ball right from the get-go.
Xbox for a couple $100, a wheel for $100, $300. You're in there and you're racing with decent equipment, and no one else can do that. And you don't have to be a file genius. It's so simple. It's definitely the way to make sim racers.
Gran Turismo Prologue close, and some may call it a beta, but we picked the 2 best from each console.
Absolutely.
So if you guys disagree, post your comments in our on YouTube here saying that no, you guys picked the wrong sim. You should have picked this. But hey, PlayStation 3, Gran Turismo 5, over 3 million copies sold. Forza, over 4 million copies sold. So
if there's ever a time I want to invite people to discuss that we're wrong. I mean, maybe we are.
Please do.
Get involved. Get into this discussion. I know it's huge. I know we're making people angry. Anyway, that said...
Well, and one other thing. How many of you out there, actually have a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox 360 where you can really devote a lot of time to both of them and see which one's the best?
And we are switching back and forth, I mean, very quickly between them to get that most feel.
So back to physics.
All right. So that's just some of the stuff that was left out of that episode. But, after all the controversy or the arguing in the chat room there, or not the chat room, but
our comments pages,
just
and behind the scenes
little things. I mean, you look at this, people are calling it a beta or a prologue, demo, whatever. It's like, this is one of the most complete manuals I've ever seen. It's gorgeous. I mean, my hat's off to them. You've got like 10 pages of credits of people who worked on this. I mean, there are sim companies making full versions of games with 10 people in-house.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know. There are just so many things that do not make this a demo.
Here's the bottom line. Gran Turismo Prologue stacked up pretty damn good against everything we've rated, considering it got a 0 in damage.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's no version of Gran Turismo that has damage, so there's no version of Gran Turismo that would have ranked probably higher than a 70 on our scale.
Yeah.
I mean, a 0 is going to give it a big hit, and considering it still had that 0 and still got in the 70s and actually compared, that's one thing.
Yeah.
And what about graphics?
And when you drop that score, it was well into the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, which rivals it with most of the best sims out there.
And then graphics.
The graphics were, I mean...
Set the benchmark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gran Turismo 5 Prologue sets the benchmark for racing sims. Yeah. No question for graphics. So how could we not include it? It is the best out there compared to Forza 2. Forza 2 is the best right now in our opinion. Yeah, it doesn't have cockpit views. And there's some things that I definitely like better about Gran Turismo 5. But you know what? Hopefully they do have... Hey, I'll tell you right now, guys, if they don't have damage in Gran Turismo 5 Final, it is not going to beat Forza.
10 pages of people working on that sim. Take note. You better have damage.
And hey, even if they're not on all the licensed cars, I know it's a licensing issue is a big part of it, but hey, have it on some of the cars. Have certain competitions where there is damage. And somebody said, what's the big deal about damage? You shouldn't wreck the car anyway. Well, you know what? This is about racing, and if you can just bump and bang without any consequence, then that's not racing. That's you want to talk arcade, you know, that's...
Yeah, you're on a track, the clock is running, and you should have consequences for your action, and that comes through damage.
This series made millions.
Yeah,
100 million or so probably on just Prologue alone.
Yeah.
So
demos are usually free and downloadable.
Yeah. So anything else from you?
No, other than I love doing the shootout, so I think we're going to have to make this a big part of the show from now on.
Oh yeah, and I think I'll be definitely brewing some more controversy here. I love that. Hey, no offense to anybody out there, it's all in good fun. We're all here to race, so let's just race, have fun. We're all entitled to our opinion. You guys have yours, we have ours. That's all there is to it.
That's something else, you know, you and I have had conversations off the camera, but it's like, you know, our opinions are our opinions. You know,
By the way, completely unbiased.
Yeah.
We don't get paid by either company.
No.
Turn 10, Xbox, you know, Polyphony, Sony. I mean, nobody's paying us to do this, so you know, we're doing this out of fun. These are our opinions. We love both. We want them both to get better because then it's just competition for each other. The better they are,
better for everybody.
Exactly.
And let the rival go on.
Let the games continue. But hey, again, no offense out there, guys. Let's go racing.
So why do people think that a game that cost $40 and brought in 100 million plus to Sony and Polyphony is just a demo?
I don't know.
Aren't demos usually free and just come with one car and one track?
Sean, that's how we've always known it, right?
Yeah, for all of eternity.
Yep. So I don't know. We picked the best on the PlayStation 3, you know, and we knew those guys weren't going to be happy, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, guys.
Yeah, we got the big shootout coming, Gran Turismo 5 versus Forza 3, so maybe they'll be a little happier when we do that.
Next up, a new company called Eye Opener is developing new technology which will allow drivers to race real time against real racers, real drivers.
Yeah, exactly. And so basically what you can do, I know it's kind of confusing, but basically what you're going to be able to do is, like, let's say in R Factor, there's a real race going on. Let's take touring cars in Valencia. You'll be able to log in with touring cars in R Factor, race against the real racers in R Factor real time. So it's really cool stuff. So, you know, when they're gridding up, you grid up with them.
And if you don't happen to grid up at the same time,
you can do it at a later date. You can just run that race. That race will be saved, and you can just log in and run that race against what those drivers did. They'll be extracting the data from the real races and basically creating like an artificial intelligence out of it.
That's pretty cool stuff. And they're actually looking for beta testers. You can go to eyeopenermedia.com to find out what that's all about.
Yep.
We've previously mentioned the removal of the Mod Squad from Inside Sim Racing. There's a site out there called the Mod Squad, which focuses on mods from an old PC racing game, NASCAR Heat.
Yep, oldie but a goodie. Was out almost about the same time, I believe, as NASCAR 3, NASCAR 4, right around there. It was really cool. Had some good physics for back then, and great to see that community's still around and they're still, you know, pumping out mods for it.
They've actually released the COT Platinum Multi-Mod Series. It's the result of many months of work from many people in the NASCAR Heat community. Yeah,
and speaking of the work that was put into it, we mentioned only scratch-built stuff here on the show, and supposedly this is all scratch-built from within the NASCAR Heat community, and all credit is given where it's due, and suppose you can go right there in the options and check all that out. So.
You'll need a copy of NASCAR Heat to check it out, and you can also go to themodsquad.uni.cc.
Last week, our last episode, I mentioned the TWAD series that we were running in, and wanted to start mentioning new racing series here during the top stories. So this week, I'd run into a guy named Aaron in our chat room, and he runs a Forza 2 league called Virtual Motorsports Racing League, and they run Forza 2 and soon to be Race Pro, but pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, there's two series. They got the V8 Supercar and a Spec series as well. And those races are run on a quarterly basis, which 6 races per quarter.
Yeah, like every 2 weeks or something that they run.
Well, I think it's 1 race every 2 weeks.
Yep, exactly.
And as soon as the patch for Race Pros released, they'll be running a Formula BMW series as well.
Yeah, so if you're interested in checking that out, go over to vmracingleague.com or go to the Forza Motorsports official site, forzamotorsports.com, and check on that forum, and they have their own little section over there.
And if you have a league that you would like to have us mention here on the show, you can email Darren at darren@insidesimracing.tv.
And other top stories coming to us from the ARCA group.
What the heck? How
It's so weird
here?
All right, we had some last-minute top stories to throw in.
We did. So we were running a little, actually, you can see my hair got a little bit shorter here all of a sudden.
Mine too.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we got some top stories. Why don't you go ahead and, what do we got here, Sean?
Like I said, coming to you from the ARCA guys. They've got 2 tracks that have already been released. You got Texas and Kentucky, so people have been waiting on a few tracks, and 2 of them are out there and ready for download. So if you have the Leverage client, you own ARCA, you should be able to automatically get them immediately.
And 4 more right behind that. They got, Charlotte,
Berlin, New Jersey, and San Jose.
Right.
So very cool stuff coming to us from there.
Yeah, definitely. And also want to mention ARCA Sim Central. They great place for ARCA sim racing resources, leagues, special events, setups, all sorts of stuff. Forum. So go to arcasimcentral.com. Check that out.
Always asking where to race. So if you like ARCA, go check that out. Great place to find some racing.
Up-to-date news there too. So that's actually where I got the press release. Zippy. Got the press release from ARCA Sim Central. But anyway, yeah, go to ARCA Sim Central. Good guys over there.
Yeah, but switching gears to iRacing, this is something I'm really stoked on. They've got the Jetta coming out, so this is going to be a new car coming to us. And Season 3, they're going to have a competition where the top 100 drivers are going to be invited to take part in this Jetta TDI Cup.
Yeah, they had it last year, and as a matter of fact, Josh Hurley, who is a iRacer, was in that series last year. I think did he win it, or I'm not sure what he did.
I'm not sure, but it was on Speed. I watched a ton of it. It was kind of interesting to watch, and now somebody from our iRacing world is actually going to get a chance to take part in that fully funded ride out of the iRacing camp themselves.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
So,
and that car is also going to become the Season 3 Advanced.
Yeah, the Rookie 4.0 car.
Right, which right now, speaking of which, should we just transition into the what's coming up in Season 2 here?
Yeah, we might as well do that.
Yeah, the Spec Racer Ford.
Yeah, Spec Racer Ford. So this is something I'm excited about. I mean, we've talked on the show many times about getting into real-life racing, and a lot of people, when they go from maybe karting or up to that first level of real-life automobile type, it's in a Spec Ford. So great car to have in iRacing.
And it's going to be free. It's going to be their first free car.
Free?
Yeah.
iRacing, free car.
Yep.
Free for any member.
Yep.
Gotta love it.
Now, I think it'll be 3.0 or above rookie, so you'll be able to drive that, and that'll be a free car. So that'll be cool, and they'll be running that same schedule that the Advanced Solstice ran last season.
Excellent.
And some other changes. Got the class. Do we have anything else with the TDI Cup? I think that was pretty much it.
Well, you know, one thing. This is kind of cool. It's only available to drivers 16 through 26. So since I'm going to be 25 this year, I'm still can be part of it.
I'm just going to be 25 right around the corner too. So we have the same birth date. So we're about the same. So 25 on the same day here, and so we'll be able to participate. So yeah, 16 to 26 years old, you'll be able to participate in that. Yeah. So I was just mentioning the nationwide car is now available for at iRacing. That's going to be the B. So it'll be COT nationwide trucks.
Cool.
So just like real NASCAR. So that's pretty
kind
cool.
of the car I think of when I think of a real cup car.
Spec Racer Ford we mentioned.
Road Atlanta, new track. So,
road racing. Hey, another road course.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool to see.
And I'll go ahead and plead for the Euros or the Internationals, but it'd be great to see some tracks not in North America.
Yeah, Talladega just came out. We didn't have that on the show, but that just was out last week or so.
That's all I got for iRacing.
Next up, we're going to talk about a couple events really quick before we go back to our regularly scheduled program. SIMD 500 coming up, third annual SIMD 500. Sean and I are going to be entered in that. Some other friends of ours, Frosty St. Clair, Ilka Hapola.
Yeah.
Trying to get Terry and Andrea to run it with us.
Butch is going to be in there.
Butch Davis, good friend of it. Butch painted us.
Yeah.
Some awesome cars. Mine's done. Yours isn't yet.
Yeah.
Fanatic sponsored car for me.
Gotta love it. I'm working on a sponsor right now, hoping to have that iced or inked in before the race.
If you're interested in running it, we're going to be running R Factor IndyCar Series 2008 1.1 mod at the awesome Racer Alex version of Indy, which
and
is
it's going to be on Pro Sim Racing, which is going to be cool. So anybody who wants to watch it, it's going to be a huge event.
May 17th. But sign up now because qualifying starts right at the beginning of May. So get your car and get over at simd500.com.
Yeah, I think there's another huge race, isn't
Another
there?
big event coming up, AKM Racing, the Dale Jarrett Racing Adventure 300 coming up.
Yeah, another prize-paying race there.
Yeah, you get, 6 laps.
And the Dale
6 lap
Jarrett
drive in the Dale Jarrett Adventure. At any track, but...
Talladega.
Right.
Talladega.
So, must be 18 years or older, $10 entry fee to enter that. Maybe we should get in on that one.
I like that one. I don't think there's an age restriction on that one.
No, I don't think there is. 18, so I think we cover that one.
Right on.
They're going to be running NASCAR 2003, the NCTS 09 mod, so I think that's the truck mod. Atlanta, fixed setup, 60%, yellows on. May 18th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to also be broadcast, so go over to akmracing.com to check that out.
Busy weekend for sim racing.
And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
I'm out of here.
Alrighty.
That's going to wrap it up for our top stories. Next up, we got a new segment, which is hosted by Darren.
Yes, indeed.
Going to be showing you how to set up some racing rigs.
Yeah, we're going to start with a do-it-yourself rig that was my original rig called Old Faithful, and you guys may have seen it. If you're an old fan of the show, you may have seen it on here many times. It started out just as natural wood. We painted it up a little bit, but a good buddy of mine, Dean Ayer, was the originator of it, and we're going to show you how to get to his site and how to build your own.
Let's find out how to build.
All right, here we are with our segment on sim rigs for under $1,000. Darren Ganji.
With Sean Cole.
And Sean and I have been talking about doing something like this for a long time. Actually, Sean did a piece a long time ago on his sim rig.
My original one. I think we'll cover that one another day someday.
We definitely will. First of all, we're sitting here with the Z frame, brand new rig that they come out with from TSW, Thomas Superwheel. And these guys have been around for a long time.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, these guys build bulletproof stuff, and their rig, well, I guess we'll tell them about that later.
Pretty bulletproof, though. I'll just say that right from the get-go. But yeah, these guys have been around for a long time. My first true solid wheel was a TSW, won it off CompuServe back in the day, and a guy named Brian Swigger, as a matter of fact, I won that thing, God, over 10 years ago. So anyway, these guys have been around for a long time, so we have this is actually their prototype rig. First off of not even really an assembly line, they pretty much build everything one off. But this is their first version of it, and there's definitely some changes that are going to be made from this, but I'd like to thank them for sending this to us. Great guys, great company, and again, they've been around for a long time. But we're also here to talk about, and we mentioned this at the top of the show, the Old Faithful, my original sim rig that a lot of you old-time viewers or they watched the show for a while definitely saw this back in some of our original shows.
Yeah, and I remember when I met you a good 5 years ago. Well, we've known each other longer than that, but when I actually met you, you were on that rig way back when.
Yep, exactly. I built it, I think, a little bit before you, and then you actually had a hand in upgrading it.
We did a little tune-up to it and took it to the next level.
Yeah, and that thousands of miles driven on that rig, and it was the original design by a guy named Dean Ayer, who used to go by True Grit, and a lot of us had fake names and handles, but you could find Dean on iRacing, as a matter of fact. I know he's out there, but Dean had built this sim rig, and we're going to show you some pictures as we're talking about it. Actually, let's start by going to his site. Go to true-grit.com/simsports, and don't forget this, .htm. If you don't put the .htm after the /simsports, then Dean, you got an old school website there, buddy. But anyway, put the .htm. You'll get to the site no problem, and you can see all of Dean's creations. So anyway, the instructions are a little vague, but if you follow pictures, you can put one together just like I did.
Yeah, what are you going to need? A drill. You're going to need a couple of bits for that drill. And you're going to need to cut some 2x4s and stuff, so circular saw is going to come in handy.
Tape measure and a carpenter's square. 5-pound box of 2.5-inch coarse drywall screws. And then like some bolts, and all these directions are at Dean's site here. And we're not going to go over exactly what you need, but...
well, you're going to need paint. You got to customize it.
Yeah, don't go with what I did. I was so anxious to get driving in my rig that I never painted it. I slapped a bunch of stickers on it, and
I think we painted one side just for the show when we actually had to use it.
You'll see that in the pictures. We got some of it gray, but anyway, it worked great. I mean, I don't think the seat cost more than anything. I went to Jegs, and if you're not familiar with Jegs here in the States, it's a parts. You can get high-performance parts from them.
And if you're building a rig, I would put a lot of attention into the seat, being that's what you're really going to be feeling.
Yeah, you need to go for comfort. Go to a local junkyard, get a seat out of whatever, the nicest car you can find there, and I'm sure they're not going to charge you much. Here in California, they got a place called Pick Apart, and you can pay $5 admission or whatever to go in, and then you can pick any part you want out of any car. So that's basically the gist of it, and just taking your time, trial and error. Feel free to post some questions in our forum. We got our forum back up. It links to the SSCA forum, but post some questions or comments on the sim seat. I'll be happy to answer them.
And a home-built rig like that is a great next step. I mean, before that, I'm assuming you were where I was at. I was at a desktop. I had a wobbly chair on wheels that I had to figure out how to strap down. And
my back was killing me. And we started endurance racing. I think that was the main thing that got me to build that seat. was the endurance races were killing me.
And for many years, the wheel would come off the desk by accident, and again, that was the big first step, was getting into something, you know, purpose-built or made by me.
Yep. So there's the sim seat by Dean Ayer. Again, I'd like to thank him for posting all those cool pictures on how to do it, and made me comfortable. Thousands of miles of sim racing in Old Faithful, and yeah, it's retired, but not forgotten. So that's the DIY part, and we're going to take a quick break here really quick and come back. Z-Frame by TSW. All right, welcome back to Sim Rigs for Under $1,000 segment here. And so before we get on to the Z-Frame, next segment, Sean, episode 41, we have the Star Mazda chassis.
Yeah, my old rig, and a little story behind how that got up and running.
And if you're anxious to see it, we have a video up. You can check it out on Sean's. It's called Sean's Simpod or Sim Rig, I believe.
Yeah, and I think we're always going to have this sort of an old one and a new one, or a home built and a new one, or a purchasable one. And we're also going to cover the Ubuntu Sim Rig, which a lot of people talk about this rig, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, and then I might as well, hey, tease the next segment past that. We got the Play Seat Evolution after that.
Yeah,
so
another cool seat.
We're going to be continuing this little segment for a little, and during that one, our DIY is going to be the current rigs that we're racing with that are
sort of our new home built.
Yeah,
kinda.
Exactly. So on to the Z-Frame again by Thomas Superwheel, TSW, been around for a while, and
the red rocket.
The red and black rocket, exactly. As you saw. Or no, we're going to play the video now of my assembly.
Yeah, you had your hand, you were knee deep in this thing for a while.
Yeah, this, I might as well talk a little bit about this before I go into this assembly video. Assembly took me about 3.5 hours. As you can see here, came with all, actually, let's just roll it.
There you go.
The Z-Frame came packaged with the TSW F1 wheel and pedals, as well as the 6-speed shifter. They all came in 3 large boxes, and the total weight was 130 pounds. It took about a half an hour to unpack everything and sort it out. The tools you need to assemble it are 2 1/2-inch wrenches, 2 7/16-inch wrenches, a 9/16 wrench, a flat and a Phillips screwdriver, a tape measure or ruler, and a square can be helpful if you have them. There are a lot of nuts and bolts sorted nicely in Ziploc bags. Be careful when taking everything apart not to lose any parts. The instructions are very detailed with pictures detailing every step of the way. It's good to set aside some space and about 4 hours total of your day. Here's what the assembly looks like, and it also included mounting the shifter and pedals.
So somehow you made 3.5, 4 hours look like only like 10 minutes. How'd you do that?
Actually, I think I got it down to about 2 minutes there in that video, but yeah, a little editing magic there.
But as you can see, there are a ton of parts, heavy duty materials, and it goes together smoothly, but it does take a little while, huh?
Yeah, and you know what? You're building a sim rig. I would have doubled the amount of time that I put into this for a nice solid rig like this. So
yeah.
You know what? The build time, and I'm a kid at heart, and you know, erector set. I had
Yeah,
erector sets as a kid, Lincoln logs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I love building Legos. love building, so this was just a big, erector set for me
Yeah.
to put together, and I enjoyed it. You saw my video, I had some smiles there, but yeah, build quality is really solid. Kind of, how do you put it? Generic? Not generic, but just basic.
I think that's a good word, but it's functional generic, and generic, it's very simplistic in design.
That's the word I was simplistic, not generic, because this is definitely not generic.
But it's extremely functional. I mean, this is rigid. It is strong. It is heavy duty.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the most solid.
Yeah.
As far as, you could put we had a 29-inch monitor on this thing. We got some footage
Big
of this
monitor.
running Gran Turismo 5. We used it as a little console rig. But it was awesome, man. This thing held up like a champ.
And usually you'd be afraid to put that much weight on most rigs that we played with.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the hanging pedals that they've got here. The hanging pedal setup, which is optional. That's actually a $125 option. Mainly built for the TSW pedals, but I'm sure that you can adapt those to other CSTs maybe, or G25s. You have your G25s hanging in your Star Mazda, as a matter of fact. So I'm sure they're adaptable, but also comes with a foot plate, so where the standard base unit comes with this foot plate. Speaking of which, the base goes for $300, and that's basically everything up to here, up to the deck.
Base being the entire sim pod, not the foot base.
Exactly. Well, yeah, no, it's actually the foot base, not this foot base.
Right.
Right, but yeah, the foot base doesn't come with the monitor deck, but it comes with the seat, and this for $300. Then, additional, you get the keyboard, mouse, and shifter stand.
Which is very cool, very rigid. I was surprised that this is holding things so stiffly, and it's reversible, so you can actually mount it on the other side.
Also, this keyboard tray will be detachable from what I understand.
Yeah, and that actually worked out really well as well. I got a keyboard right here, and just kind of slipped in like that. Doesn't get much easier than that.
Yeah, no doubt. So we also have the TSW 6-speed shifter here that we've got mounted to it, and they've actually got a bracket mount for that right here. Actually, haven't talked to them about sim gear shifter or other stuff, but again, this is a prototype version.
And I know we're really focusing mainly on the rig, but we tested one of these shifters a while back, and I was kind of mediocre. This is the straight gate shifter one, and it actually has a really good feel to it as well.
I love the shifter. Yeah. This shifter is really cool. Again, it's used basic materials, but man, it's positive shifting, man. It is a really cool shifter.
And that's the way TSW gets stuff done. They always have, and it's like very simplistic way, but it's hard to beat them on function.
Exactly. Built to last. This stuff is they warranty their stuff for life. So I would imagine this thing's warranted for life.
How are you gonna break it?
Throw this thing out on the boulevard out here, and the thing would withstand a 3-car accident, I think. Let's talk a little bit about the seat.
The seat was probably the most disappointing part of it, in that it wasn't the most comfortable seat. Good seating position, or at least we talked to them about seating position. This one was kind of reclined.
Right.
But I think they're working on that.
Final version's going to have 3 different adjustments as far as the reclining goes. So you'll probably just add spacers down here below. It doesn't have a slider back and forth, but as you'll see in the footage we have here, these comes apart. These 2 pieces come apart, so it's actually easy to move this thing around, and each different section is pretty light.
Just take the whole seat assembly here and walk off with it, or roll it out.
As beefy as this thing looks, separately these parts are light enough so Sean and I can pick them up by ourselves.
Yeah, and then you just clamp it down so it stays still. I mean, when you make that. And the other thing about it being telescoping or scopping, it worked for both your height and my height. There's a big difference between us, about a foot height difference.
Yep.
And so it works for a small driver all the way up to a larger driver.
And then let's talk about the wheel deck a little bit. This is actually going to be more adjustable. Right now it's just at one level, but they're going to provide spacers to allow you to adjust it up and down. So that's the base for $300. The attachment, this keyboard attachment, that I don't think we mentioned, is $60 additional.
I also like the little lip they put on it so your mouse doesn't fall off,
right?
Especially if you're using a butt kicker.
Exactly. Which, speaking of butt kickers, $20 additional. You can get a butt kicker gamer mount that goes in the bottom. So back to the base of this, we got the base unit with the seat for $300.
And at that point, you could slide that right up to your desk. It's about the right height. Just scoot it right up and use your monitor.
That's really what that base is made for. We really recommend this $60 additional attachment.
Yeah,
so for $360 plus $125 shipping, it's probably going to give or take a little bit there. You got a basic sim rig. So you're right around $500.
Very sturdy sim rig.
Now, add the The deck, the monitor stand here is $75. And then if you want the hanging pedals, that's an additional $125. So all this out the door, this rig you're looking at right here, not including the pedals, the wheel, or the shifter, $705 shipped.
Not bad, not bad. A lot of weight alone right there in shipping.
This rig was really mainly built around a TSW setup, but configurable. We tried it with Fanatic.
Yeah, no problem.
Have footage with that. We tried it with the GT5 setup.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, so it's very versatile as far as what you can bolt to it. Man,
Yeah.
and we talked about wood. Oh, this right here is plywood, but it's going to be replaced with
MDF.
MDF, so it's going to be
little
some
nice finish on it. Look real tight.
pros and cons. Pros, sturdy as can be.
Yeah, and I like the racy color.
Yeah, it's definitely got some cool color. Cons, seat's a little hard.
Yeah.
You could add some extra. You know what? This has got a cover on it, so you could honestly add some more cushion in
Yeah,
that seat.
probably just glue it right into the base.
Yeah.
A little rough around the edges.
It is a little rough around. Sean said, "Man, you could really hurt yourself on
Yeah.
this thing." Actually, I got some nicks on my shins from these. But yeah, and there's just a lot of bolts and bolt heads, and you know, there's one sticking out right here. That's a con, but you know what? Race car's a little rough around the edges, so.
Yeah, and it's kind of a race car-ish. I mean, just everything about it. It's a very racy design and you know, built to last.
Z-frame from TSW, you can pre-order them now. Comes in red and black only. They don't plan on any other colors right now, but you can get it in red and black. Order it now at thomas-superwheel.com. Tell them guys at SRT sent you. And if you order yours, we recommend it, man. Thumbs up for me, no doubt.
Thanks, Dave and Dave. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Good
thanks,
work.
guys, for sending us this to check out. And we're on to your segment on Tech Tips.
Yep, we're covering tires this week.
Yep, all right, let's roll it.
Tech Tips by Sean Cole. In all the tech tips that we have done, everything has been in an effort to allow the tires to do their jobs well. In fact, the tires are the most important part of the car when it comes to handling. There's very little rubber where it meets the road, and that is the only thing keeping us on that road. As Duval said in the Days of Thunder, tires win races. Tires are really only adjustable in two different ways: tire compound and air pressure. Tire compound refers to the type of rubber, or better yet, the softness of the rubber used on the tire. The softer the tire, the more grip it will allow. However, this comes at the price of higher temperatures and increased wear. The harder compounds will last a lot longer and stay cooler, but will offer less grip on the road. When tuning the tires, we will use tire temperatures to determine how the tires are doing. Tires will usually operate best at around 200 degrees Fahrenheit. If your tires are averaging a lot more than 200, you are working them too hard. This will make them have less grip and wear out prematurely. If your tires are averaging much lower than 200 degrees, then they are not being used enough, not heating up, and not offering maximum grip. To correct massive amounts of temperature, look to changes in suspension, weight, and other setup changes. But air pressure will also affect temperature in the tires. Low tire pressure will cause more friction when rolling and will cause more temperature in the tire. High tire pressure will cause less drag and therefore keep tire temperatures cooler. When it comes to grip, our tires will work best when their average temperatures are around 200. By averaging, we are talking about the inside, middle, and outer temperatures across the rolling surface of the tire. Ideally, we would like to see a 10-degree spread across the front tires, with the inside edge being the hottest. Camber will determine the variance between outer and inner, and air pressure will determine the middle temperature. When our tires are overinflated, we will see higher temperature in the middle of the tire and slightly cooler tire overall. If our tire is underflated, then it will be much lower in temperature and the tire will be hotter overall. Again, when things are perfect, it would look something like this, right in the middle. Another aspect of tires are their effects as springs. You can even think of the tires as being a second set of springs for the car. The more air pressure you put in the tires equals stiffer springs. And on the flip side, once again, the less air pressure that you put in the tire, the softer that second set of springs will be. Removing just a couple pounds of air will usually call for a bit more spring to compensate. The other great thing tires are used for is the best judge of the overall handling of the car. If you are scorching your front tires, the chances are you need more grip on the front to keep them from sliding on the track so much and raising those temperatures. This could call for change to the suspension, the weight balance, or aerodynamic changes. Or it can even be an indicator that you are overdriving the car. If your front tires are running cold, you might need to think of how to make them work harder. More downforce in the front, more weight or camber, but you need to get them working harder. Maybe you even need to watch your driving style and see if you aren't pushing the car hard enough, demanding that they work harder. You will find that you are constantly adjusting your tire pressures. Every other change to the car is an attempt to maximize the tires. Therefore, every change you will need to change the pressures to keep them in that zone. Again, like everything else on the car, there is no magic number that is correct, and that trial and error are always the best way to determine the best setup.
All right, I'm back here with Sean, and we're back from the tech tips, which we all enjoy.
Thank you very much. I enjoy putting them together. I've mentioned it before. And, you know, if you want to comment about this one or have any questions, or you want to have an opinion on a future tech tip, go ahead and email me, Sean@InsideSimRacing.tv, and we'll see what we can do for the future.
And speaking of tips, Team Redline is back on the show again, as I mentioned earlier, with some tips on getting around the Virginia International Raceway, or VIR, as some people call it.
It's been a while since they've been on the show, and, you know, if there's a team you want to learn from, it's these guys at Redline. We've got Dom Doohan doing the commentary. We've got Bastian Barch doing the driving. So, I mean, these are the guys to learn from.
Let's take a look.
Welcome to Team Redline Techniques in association with SimGear. This video is made with software from iRacing.com. Virginia International Raceway, otherwise known as VIR, based in Alton, Virginia, USA. Today we are driving on the full course variation. This is one of 6 variations and includes some of the most fun parts on the whole circuit. The 3.27 mile course has 17 turns. It's possibly one of the most challenging tracks within iRacing. It takes extreme precision and commitment for a fast lap. One of the great features of this variation is it has 2 long straights, one of about 3,000 feet and the other one about 4,000 feet, giving drivers a great opportunity for drafting. So today we're in the Radical SR8, one of the faster cars in iRacing, and quite a big challenge, especially if you get near a curb, or a bump in fact. So best thing to do on this track is avoid the curbs like the plague. And let's see a Hotlap by our very own Bastian Barch. Full speed down the start finish straight, stay on the left hand side of the track for the right hander coming up, brake just before the number 2 marker on the left hand side, and you should be in 2nd gear. A couple of things here, don't turn too early into the apex, and be careful on the bump and the exit of the corner, kind of gradually accelerate over it, don't floor it. Turn in early in 2nd gear, avoid the curb. 2nd gear through the right hander, then into 3rd gear, full power through here, very important to carry all the speed down the long straight. Through these sweeping S's, turn 6, 7, 8 and 9, stay as straight as possible through them. This is a very tricky corner. Into 4th gear, aim where you want to go and really nail it. Don't hit the inside curb and be careful on the outside curb. Okay, this bit's crucial at the tree. The most technical part of the whole track. In the braking zone, try to be on the left hand side as much as possible. However, accelerate as soon as possible, but don't hit that inside curb. You've got a big straight coming up. You need to keep the speed up. Right, coming up after that long straight is a 2nd gear right hander. It's quite difficult braking here, so use a bit of throttle to keep the car balanced. This part is very important. Get 3rd gear over the curb for a change and then hit the apex for the start finish straight. It's a very long straight. You need to have the power down all the way. And then we go Hotlap with Bastian, 142.755. It's replays on our website. You can go and download it from there. Okay, let's look at some of the places to pass on this track. A couple of long straights, it should be quite easy, shouldn't it? Let's have a look. Okay, staying in the draft here is very important, so that means a great exit. Be careful, if you're going to draft quite a bit, you can easily overheat your engine. Turn 1's the best place to pass on the whole track. Using the draft of the long straight, you can dive up the inside. Make sure you don't outbrake yourself, it's all about car positioning, and you can also force your opponent to go over the bump on the outside, which will also slow him down. What if you want to block? Well, staying on the inside is the best place to be. Be careful on the exit though, because you've compromised your line. You'll get other opportunities to pass throughout the track, however I suggest that really after the long straights is the best option. Also coming up to the oak tree is a pretty tricky pass, as you can see here. I wouldn't recommend this. Really on the track, the other great place to pass is also after the long straight. It's also into a second gear hairpin. I hope you enjoyed that Team Redline technique. We'll be having more of these soon, so stay tuned.
That Team Redline is pretty badass, huh, Sean?
Yeah, badass is the word. These are the best of the best, the true aliens of sim racing, and I only wish I could hang with them.
Maybe when you grow up, you can be an alien too.
Thanks so much.
I think that's going to wrap it up for episode 40.
Not quite. I think we have a contest. We've got Race Pro. We're going to give away a copy of Race Pro. We also have some downloadable content for Race Pro, the Challenger and the Charger. I think we're giving away two of each cars.
4 codes.
So in order to do it, we'll make it hard to get in the contest, but easy to win. All you have to do is go to our YouTube channel,
which is youtube.com/simracingtonight, and you must be a subscriber.
There you go. So just let us know who's the manufacturer of the Challenger or the Charger, and that way you'll be eligible to win the downloadable content.
That's true. And if you don't own Race Pro yet and you want a chance at winning it, go to the same YouTube page on our channel, which I mentioned earlier, and tell us who the maker of Race Pro is, and we'll go ahead and pick some random winners for both the codes and for the Race Pro, and we'll pick a winner.
There you go. 2 different winners, or actually 5 different winners.
Yep,
5 different winners total. I don't know if we confused you guys, but we're giving away codes, and we're giving away Race Pro as well.
There you
so
go.
we have a total of 5 giveaways. That's going to wrap it up for episode 40. We have a ton of new stuff coming for episode 41.
Already packing up. Darren's doing another installment on sim pods or sim rigs. He's got the Ubuntu. Seen it out in the shop. It's looking awesome.
You're going to be doing something?
I'm going to do a drifting special, which I've been dying. This has been one we've had on the burner for a while. Finally going to get to it.
We're also going to have the top stories as usual. Probably going to have some tech tips. We've got a lot of good stuff packed in episode 41 coming up, so make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you subscribed if you haven't yet. I'm Jessica.
I'm Sean.
That's Darren.
Yay.
The checkered flag is out, and so are we.